Keir Starmer now says he's the guy that's going to control our borders. The same Keir Starmer that decriminalised illegal immigration, has prioritised illegals over our own good people, has thrown them into hotels and generally prioritised them for housing as well, and wanted to make sure that anyone who spoke out against illegal immigration was called far right and put in prison. But now suddenly he's all for it. He also says that those arriving in our country should speak English. Maybe he could go to Birmingham or Bradford or Luton or Leicester or any other of his voting areas and say that, because none of them will understand a bloody...
Katie Hopkins just unleashed a reality check on Keir Starmer that's rattling the whole political arena, and dull is the last term you'd choose to define it. This isn't your typical tiresome policy argument, it's a savage roast packed with razor-edged humor and jaw-snapping strikes that leave everyone speechless. If you believed politics was tedious, reconsider. This showdown is wildfire, sparking the internet with each punchline. Brace yourself for the boldest, funniest demolition of the year. You absolutely don't want to skip it.
Here. My director of strategy, who's a right ginger, has said that I should explain our new policy on migration very simply. So before, we loved illegals. We couldn't get enough of illegals. Illegals, come, welcome. I helped bring them in. I put them in hotels. I also love a Rwandan. I love me a stubby Rwandan. In fact, I love all illegals because they are the ones that vote for us. So if you go to any of the Labour strongholds, Luton, Leicester, Birmingham, Bradford, all you'll find is Muslims, and we can buy their vote for 20 quid. But then we got beaten by reform. So now we say, we cannot stand illegals. We are the ones that will control the border. You can trust us. We will stop them.
Keir Starmer, the figure who somehow manages to appear bewildered and drained at once, as if he just awoke in a lecture hall he doesn't recall entering, has now endured a political wedgie of monumental scale, delivered by Katie Hopkins. Hopkins, who charges into public debate like a blowtorch at an ice sculpture contest, chose to crush Starmer's credibility with a rhetorical wrecking ball. And his reply? Sheer comic brilliance. Imagine a rabbit frozen in spotlights while simultaneously attempting to interpret a chaotic spreadsheet titled voter sentiment. The outcome? Alarm, confusion, and trademark Keir. A leadership episode defined completely by collapse.
Here's the thing, Keir. I've had a thought that fixes a lot of your problems. So, you're looking to put boots on the ground in Ukraine, specifically Kyiv. I thought, why don't you get all the people that had a Ukraine flag on their social media profile? Obviously, they had to take down their NHS one and their LGBTQ one to put up the Ukraine one. But those people, and the people who took in a Ukrainian into their homes like a little pet, just for Christmas. The people that are like, oh yeah, we've got one. Yeah, we've got a Ukrainian family. Yeah. We've got a Ukrainian family, because we're a better kind of person.
For the last 12 months, Starmer's been straining non-stop to persuade Britain he's an authentic individual with genuine convictions, not simply a projection engineered by opinion surveys. Yet the verdict remains unsettled. One moment, he's vowing undying devotion to Brexit as though it's a treasured childhood toy. The next, he's awkwardly tinkering with trade agreements like a jittery trainee presenting slideshows to a crowd of indifferent ferns. And just when it seems he's finally discovered some backbone, we learn it was only rented from a drifting Lib Dem filled with instant remorse.
My name is Keir Starmer, and I'm here to fuck the foundations. When I became your Prime Minister, not only did I get new hair and glasses provided by a donor who now has full access to 10 Downing Street and my bedroom, we were promised 3 things. Number 1, we would be fully costed and fully funded. We're so fully funded and fully costed, we're essentially just like Katie Price, or HS2, or the public sector in Argentina pre-Milei, depending on your sense of humour. In order to make the £22 billion hole in the budget even worse, we have spunked a whole bunch of cash at train drivers and junior doctors. This guarantees 2 things.
Then Katie Hopkins storms in, slicing through the political haze like a sat-nav with no filter and a loudspeaker welded to the roof. She glanced once at Starmer's meticulously crafted facade, that delicate blend of bureaucratic rigidity and the charm of drooping lettuce, and decided it was time for a ruthless reality check. With her signature directness and unapologetic flair, Hopkins dragged Starmer's persona into the harsh glare of public judgment. The outcome? It collapsed quicker than a wax statue beneath a tanning lamp in a scorcher, revealing just how fragile and staged his so-called leadership truly is.
Keir Starmer has been in Italy with Meloni. So you've got a left-wing, radical left-wing human rights guy over with what would be labelled as far-right Meloni in Italy. Now, I appreciate many of you will know much of this already, but it bears repeating at some level. Firstly, Meloni has been very successful at getting migrant numbers down. She's done that by, number one, hitting where they leave. So Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, she's making deals with those guys to stop the boats.
While Starmer arranges press events that feel like strained dinner gatherings where nobody dares mention Brexit, Hopkins shows no mercy. She slices through his foggy, indecisive rambling with the precision of someone who's been waiting all week to post a brutal TripAdvisor slam. Only this time, the subject isn't a hotel. It's the Labour Party's leadership. And she's branding it with 1 star and a firm rebuke. Let's examine his economic plan. If staring into emptiness and hoping it passes for policy counts as foresight, then maybe. Starmer has spent months trailing after the Conservatives like a baffled hound at Crufts, sniffing their financial schemes and occasionally yapping about responsibility. Meanwhile, Hopkins asked the obvious. What exactly are you answerable for, Keir, apart from turning Labour into a political disaster?
Starmer having an affair with his voice coach. I know, dog. I know. Disbelief. I mean, I think we all have some questions, don't we? Question 1. Why do guys always have affairs with people that look exactly like the wife they already had? I mean, if you've already got that wife, what's the point of having an affair with another woman who looks exactly the same as the wife that you apparently don't want? Why not pick someone, super exciting, maybe with massive boobs, or a lady from another continent with an enormous bottom? I mean, just something completely different to what you've already got. Why are you still shopping in the same super?
Every time Starmer mentions growth, economists across Britain sigh like they've been asked to explain how forks function. His whole approach appears to rely on the economy expanding out of pure boredom. Productivity, creativity, capital. He's built a spreadsheet for everything except an actual roadmap. It's like watching someone attempt to start a car with a fork. Enthusiastic? Yes. Prepared? Definitely not. And then there's immigration. Starmer has been hopping around this subject as if skipping over invisible explosives. He's trying to satisfy the left, reassure the right, and bewilder everyone caught in the middle. The result? A position so flimsy it makes lukewarm porridge look bold. Hopkins, predictably, exposed it with all the delicacy of a flying brick, questioning whether Keir's grand scheme was to install revolving doors at the border just to keep all sides equally frustrated. Keir Starmer says
he's going to have a peace talk for Ukraine. Peace talks for Ukraine. Oh, yes, I'm going to have peace talks. Yeah, so what did you do for the last 3 years? Oh, yeah, bugger all. And now Trump's coming to fix the problem, and you want some of his success? Please, you're like a tick on a bloody dog. The last time the EU leaders were together, they took their jackets off in solidarity with Zelensky. Oh, do you think he'll take me up the... We've never seen anything this gay since the last time, I don't know.
We haven't seen anything this camp since the last time, I don't know. And then there are his speeches. Painfully staged. Painfully rigid. Every time he delivers a phrase, it's like watching a glitching Siri repeat a press release. You can almost imagine him practicing in front of a mirror, only to apologize afterward for wasting its time. His Chan drifts somewhere between a dead battery and a polite sneeze. Katie Hopkins spotted this immediately and cast herself as the brutally frank theater critic for his one-man act. Keir, a memoir in monotone. She's out there posing the hard questions. Like why he confuses caution with leadership, or why replying to everything with "we'll look into it" gets treated like strategy instead of a political shrug wrapped in a suit. And then there's law and order. Starmer talks tough, but tough in the same way a toddler talks tough about broccoli. His record as Director of Public Prosecutions is more footnotes than follow-through. Katie doesn't drown this in policy jargon either. She goes straight to the point. If Keir's brand is safety and stability, where's the evidence? So far it looks more like hollow pledges than a January gym subscription.
I think Starmer has seen Angela's Furburger. Oh no. I believe, personally, my personal opinion is that Keir Starmer's gay. He seems gay to me. My gaydar goes off, but in a bad way. Not a good gay, like a gay, like a Macron gay, a Trudeau gay, shady little bastard gay. So I would say Keir Starmer's gay. Yeah, that would be my personal opinion. And undoubtedly what will happen now is Channel 4 News, as happened this week, will be given advance warning in order to come with the West Midlands police force, because they're big supporters of mine.
And don't get us started on his newest vow to deliver for working people. This from a man who probably assumes working people is the title of a fresh Netflix series. His version of relatable is dropping into Greggs for a sausage roll and pretending it's field research. Katie shredded this for what it is, the political equivalent of throwing on a high-vis jacket and pretending to understand forklift training. Meanwhile, Starmer's leadership approach is so risk-averse it could double as a yoga pose. Every time a major issue arises, NHS strikes, rail strikes, climate policy, he holds his breath like he's hiding from his own stance. He wants to collect votes by upsetting nobody, which sounds cute until you realize politics isn't a school bake sale. Hopkins swoops in like a hawk spotting a dazed pigeon, pointing out that Starmer's whole platform rests on vagueness. He seems to think standing still makes him appear thoughtful, but the only thing he reflects is a total absence of courage, clarity and, let's be honest, charisma.
For, as many of you are fully aware, those who control the movement of human flesh, a slave trade unlike anything ever seen before in the past, are the leaders of the major religions, the leaders of political dynasties, and the banking scions, and the global leadership.
Then come the environmental promises, you know, the ones he trims like a nervous bonsai tree whenever a donor lifts an eyebrow. Net zero by 2050? Sure, provided it doesn't unsettle anyone in a Range Rover. Starmer claims he wants to rescue the planet, but only if the planet stays quiet enough not to spook swing voters. Katie nailed it for what it is, political decoration, like stringing fairy lights on a sinking ship. You could almost picture Starmer quietly erasing his wind farm budget as she spoke. And just when you think he couldn't get more beige, along comes education. He insists he wants opportunity for all, which sounds nice, except nobody can tell what that actually means. More exams, fewer teachers, free pencils. The only thing he's managed so far is making teachers, students, and parents all feel equally disregarded.
The deals aren't go stop the boats. The deals are, if you stop the boats, we're going to invest in you. So investments in trade, investments in deals, in infrastructure or whatever. So she's funding development of those countries in order for them to work with her and stop the damn boats. And she's done brilliantly well. Numbers are down by about 65%, which, you know, historically, when I was there on the shores of southern Italy, was an absolute flood. The other thing she's done in a two-pronged attack is to offshore migrants. So if they arrive from a safe country, they are immediately offshored in Albania. She's moving them to Albania.
Katie, never one to miss, nailed it. She dubbed it the political equivalent of assigning homework to a phantom. And she's not wrong. Starmer talks about leveling up education while watching the latter get yanked away. And if his domestic policies appear shaky, his foreign stance is even more awkward. It's like watching someone attempt salsa dancing while reading a manual on cautious diplomacy. His boldest moves usually involve nodding solemnly, muttering international norms, and steering clear of any view that might force him to actually choose a side. Katie rolled her eyes so hard they nearly landed in another dimension. Is this the leader of the opposition or the spokesperson for a travel insurance firm? Honestly, it's hard to know. And then comes his so-called integrity card. Starmer waves it like a get-out-of-criticism free pass. He's the adult, the serious one, the man with gravitas. Except the second he's challenged, he becomes a glitching printer, spitting out can lines while dodging the real issue. Integrity isn't in action. Don't tell Keir, though. He might form a committee just to analyze your tone.
You've already got Sainsbury's, why are you going back there?
Second up, if you're a voice coach and you're going to have an affair, why would you choose Keir Starmer? Why would you make that your hill to die on? That's your entire professional reputation. I mean, sure, if it was like Richard E. Grant or, Hugh Grant, or actually Grant Mitchell for that matter, somebody good at speaking. Why would you end your professional days on a guy that sounds like he's breathing through a tube and doesn't have a nose? I mean, that's before we go into any of the other questions about why you'd want to have sex with a guy that...
Katie, never one to miss, nailed it. She branded it the political equivalent of assigning homework to a spectre. And she's not wrong. Starmer talks about leveling up education while watching the latter get snatched away. And if his domestic agenda looks shaky, his foreign stance is even more clumsy. It's like watching someone attempt salsa dancing while reading a manual on cautious diplomacy. His big gestures usually involve nodding solemnly, muttering international norms, and steering clear of any view that might force him to actually choose a side. Katie rolled her eyes so hard they nearly landed in another dimension. Is this the leader of the opposition or the spokesperson for a travel insurance firm? Honestly, it's tough to tell. And then there's his so-called integrity card. Starmer waves it like a get-out-of-criticism-free pass. He's the adult, the serious one, the man with gravitas. Except the instant he's challenged, he becomes a glitching printer, spitting out can lines while dodging the real issue. Integrity isn't inertia. Don't tell Keir, though. He might create a committee just to analyze your tone.
It would be great if I could be Prime Minister. I would make it such that people who wanted to make Britain great, they get help to do that, they get free parking, they get reduced taxes, they get whatever incentivises the grafters, the workers, small businesses and wealthy individuals.
Breaking news here in batshit bonkers Britain, where Keir Starmer's homes have been firebombed. Now, clearly, it is not okay to firebomb anyone's home, even if they are a complete...
The roast may be over, but the embers are still glowing, drifting through Westminster like the ghost of accountability past. And at the center of this scorched earth takedown wasn't some sudden alignment with Hopkins' worldview. Let's not fool ourselves. It was the sharp brilliance of someone finally stepping into the polite haze of British politics to raise the one burning question the nation has been whispering. Why is this man still pretending to be a lighthouse when he can't even switch on the bulb? Because yes, Keir Starmer is the political equivalent of a screensaver, always present, faintly animated but accomplishing absolutely nothing. Hopkins, wielding the delicacy of a sledgehammer in a teacup, delivered what might be the year's most uncomfortable critique, a necessary reminder that looking busy is not the same thing as being effective. And yet here we are, applauding a man for standing still, simply because he does it in a suit and tie while clutching a PDF.
Today, the powerful that run the world decide that you need to go. They've got their eye on you and you see signs of it in all different places. My daughter's bank account being cancelled. You're getting refused for life insurance. Your driving licence being sent back to you cancelled. You see these things happening and you think, that's odd. And then all of a sudden, one day they decide. The chief rabbi, the board of deputies, that's the organisation that runs the Jewish synagogues, the Muslim council, all on the same day, calling for my removal, calling for my silencing, calling for my job. They've got it all ready to go and they work as a circle. They are watching you.
So thank you, Katie, for saying what too many have been too polite, too timid, or too career-minded to admit. Is Keir Starmer actually leading? Or simply very skilled at pretending he isn't completely adrift? Because at the end of the day, Britain doesn't need another glorified PowerPoint in human form. It doesn't need a man who seems like he's constantly apologizing for occupying other people's air. It needs direction, it needs vision, and maybe, just maybe, it needs someone with a pulse, or at the very least someone who doesn't look like leadership was an accidental side effect of stumbling into it.